Political inclusion of women is a social, economic and political good in itself. It matters for democracy and gender equality. Democratic process requires the participation of all citizens. Any deviations to this renders any attempts in promoting democracy are just other forms of fostering the social and political norms that created an unfair and unequal power sharing between men and women. This results in inequitable social policies and unfair political processes. Political inclusion of women challenges both the power structures and relations that undermine the consideration of women's needs and interests in policy making. Politically, it increases the number of women in parliament, curbs corruption, improves policy outcomes, and promotes the inclusiveness in public spheres. Economically, it considers women as actors of development, encourages the integration of women, and promotes economic and developmental growth. And it's where our laws are framed, the country's future is debated, and the people's representatives are held accountable. It is India's seat of government, and all the important laws are passed right here in this iconic circular edifice, Parliament of India.
Sumalatha Ambareesh ಎಂಬ ಹೆಸರಿನವಳಾದ ನಾನು ಲೋಕಸಭೆಯ ಸದಸ್ಯಳಾಗಿ ಚುನಾಯಿತಳಾದವಳಾಗಿ ಕಾನೂನು ಮೂಲಕ ಸ್ಥಾಪಿತವಾದ ಭಾರತದ ಸಂವಿಧಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಸತ್ಯಶ್ರದ್ಧೆಯನ್ನು ಮತ್ತು ನಿಷ್ಠೆಯನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿರುತ್ತೇನೆಂದು, ಭಾರತದ ಸಾರ್ವಭೌಮತ್ವವನ್ನು ಮತ್ತು ಅಖಂಡತೆಯನ್ನು ಎತ್ತಿ ಹಿಡಿಯುತ್ತೇನೆಂದು ಮತ್ತು ನಾನು ಈಗ ಕೈಗೊಳ್ಳಲಿರುವ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯವನ್ನು ಶ್ರದ್ಧಾಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ನಿರ್ವಹಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆಂದು ದೇವರ ಹೆಸರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಮಾಣ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೇನೆ.
From effectively raising issues of regional and national importance in Parliament to firmly airing the views in Parliamentary Standing Committees, Sumalatha Ambareesh has utilised every opportunity, focusing on legislative, deliberative and developmental role.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker Sir, for giving me this opportunity to speak for the first time in this august house.
पहली बार बोलने वालों को
ಮೊದಲನೇದಾಗಿ ನನ್ನ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆಯ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರವಾದ ಮಂಡ್ಯದ ಸಮಸ್ತ ಸ್ವಾಭಿಮಾನಿ ಜನತೆಗೆ ಈ ಮೂಲಕ ನನ್ನ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಅರ್ಪಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. Speaker sir, through you I would like to draw the kind attention of our union government to the ongoing burning issue in my state of Karnataka and my constituency of Mandya, which is basically an agrarian district. Sir, we have had several deficit monsoons over the past few years, and this year we are looking at a huge water crisis and impending drought conditions which are already present in my region. This presents a very bleak scenario for my farmers, basically who are sugarcane and paddy growers, who already are caught up in a vicious cycle of inadequate pricing for their produce, defunct sugar mills, failure to repay bank loans, and the inability of the state government to fulfill loan waiver promises. Add to this the looming drinking water crisis and scarcity of fodder for cattle, and I fear we have a ready-made formula for hundreds or thousands of more of desperate farmer suicides, and we need to address this immediately. Through you, sir, I would earnestly appeal to the Prime Minister, the Honourable Prime Minister and the Honourable Jal Shakti Minister and all the concerned authorities to provide immediate relief measures, compensative measures, and heed their cries of help on an emergency scale. Sir, we have to save our Annadata, give him back his right to dignity, right to live, sir. Otherwise, it is not just the monsoons which would be failing them, but we collectively would also be failing them. Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka. Thank you, sir.
Sumalatha Ambareesh believes that children are an important marginalized group who frequently face exploitation, most of which is sexual exploitation. She believes that Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act is gender neutral and it prioritizes the child's best interests and welfare at all stages to ensure the child's healthy physical, emotional, intellectual and social development. She vehemently makes a case for strict punishment for heinous crimes against children.
I appreciate the Honourable Women and Child Development Minister for this comprehensive bill which seeks to investigate cases in a time-bound manner, for I believe that no victim or their families should be subjected to prolonged agony of delayed investigations. Sir, I recoil with horror, not just as a member of this House, but as a woman and a mother, at some of the instances recounted by the Honourable Minister today. And as for those who are questioning the justification of death penalty in this House and outside of this House, I want to ask, is even the death penalty enough for the evil perpetrators of this horrific, monstrous and barbaric acts? As a mother, I would say no. And I would like to ask you to just imagine what the families and the parents of those victims go through and maybe what they would like to see happen in these cases. Sir, POSCO needs to be implemented swiftly and also keep in mind the sensitivity and care of survivors. I have a few suggestions, sir, to the Honourable Minister through you. That child psychiatrist presence to be made mandatory during each investigation to aid and advise, and also, especially in cases of female victims, the questioning should be done under female supervision during all times and every time. Offenders are punished once, but the victims are punished repeatedly during the interrogation, during the course of interrogation, and I think the sensitivity in the approach during the procedures of this becomes very important. That's why I feel, along with the deterring punishment, the victims and survivors should be ensured utmost sensitivity and safety while during the course of interrogation.
Her attendance in Parliament is close to 70%. She has participated in 21 debates so far and has raised 128 questions. She has questioned the government on important issues like unclaimed insurance amounts, biofertilizer units, provision of cheap cardiac stents and other medical equipment, assistance to job seekers, beneficiaries of National Food Security Act, scholarship schemes, Accessible India campaign, impact of pollution on monuments, sanction strength of judges, status of Amrit, reforms in ESIC, steps to curb man-animal conflict, procurement of food grains at MSP, National Digital Drugs Data Bank, expansion of metro rail projects, production and export of marine products, legislation to regulate groundwater, and strengthening of Gram Panchayats and also Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Substantive representation or acting in the interest of those represented defines the quality of a leader. Sumalatha Ambareesh has undivided focus on women and child development, health and sanitation, and has raised several pertinent issues in Parliament, including global gender gap, skill training to women, cases of women and child abuse, remuneration to Asha workers, cyber crimes against women and children, Udyam Sakhi portal for women, and women at the centre of urban planning. Sumalatha Ambareesh's journey begins from Karnataka.
Namaskar, hello and a very warm welcome viewers. You're watching the special presentation of Sansad TV, your MP. And today, Team Sansad TV has travelled to Mandya, the sugar bowl of Karnataka. This is also the parliamentary constituency of independent member Sumalatha Ambareesh. In this edition, we'll see how her vision of development is being translated on the ground. So come along.
Mandya is a district located in the state of Karnataka and is famous for being one of the biggest sugarcane producing regions in India. Close to 2 million people live in an area spanning 4,900 square kilometers. The district has 4 major rivers passing through it: the Hemvati, Kaveri, Shimsha and Lokpavni. Mandya is also known by its nickname, Shakkarnadu, which roughly translates to the sweet place. Mandya Lok Sabha constituency is one of the 28 Lok Sabha constituencies in Karnataka and comprises of 8 legislative assembly segments. Sumalatha Ambareesh, who is an independent candidate in Mandya, won by defeating Nikhil Kumaraswamy of the JDS.
Ma'am, 2019 when you started, it was like a new inning for you. Now that we are in 2022, how have you changed your constituency, Mandya?
See, I would not like to use big words like, an MP can change a whole constituency within 3 years. We have faced a lot of challenges during these 3 years, like for instance, Corona virus happened and the lockdown happened, and a lot of farmers, my district is a agrarian community, so it's mostly farming community. And so whatever happens, whether it's rains, whether it's drought, whether it's something, a pandemic, my farmers get affected first. So we had to take a lot of steps to address their problems, especially during the Corona time. Like, there was a lack of oxygen, and we were running from pillar to post and begging these factories, to supply oxygen, because Mandya is placed in a way, it's more of a rural district, not an urban. So not many people come forward or identify this place. So we have to walk that extra mile to get things done here.
Mandya, 100 kilometers from Bengaluru, is also known as the Sugar Town. It earned the name from miles of plush sugarcane fields spread across the district. It was a sign of prosperity, for sugarcane was the backbone of Mandya's economy, with over 70% of population involved in cultivating the cash crop. However, a range of issues such as rising sugar imports, increasing cost of cultivation and oversupply, followed by falling prices, cropped up grave challenges. In addition, the state faced the worst drought in the last few years, thus affecting production, given that sugarcane is a water-intensive crop. There are 5 sugar mills in Mandya district. Of the 5 mills, 2 are run by the government. As agriculture declined over the last few years, more people gave up farming and migrated to Bengaluru to work as drivers or security guards and house helps. Sumalatha Ambareesh has taken a vow to revamp the mills and ensure payment of dues on time to help the farmers.
One of the biggest challenges that I was reading was, of course, farmer suicide.
Yeah.
That, of course, is a structural problem. Going ahead, do you think that there could be a sustainable solution to this?
See, this is an ongoing struggle or challenges.
Yes.
I would like to see, today you're facing one challenge and you think you've overcome it, and tomorrow there comes a fresh challenge. For instance, who expected COVID? Nobody did. And these kind of floods in recent years we have not seen. So everything is like dynamic. Nothing is like, you can't say that we can change the system in one day, or For instance, the factory opening which we went was closed for nearly a decade. And I had to really put in a lot of effort with our chief ministers, be it the former CM Mr. Yediyurappa ji or the present CM Shri Bommai, to get this going, because it was a huge challenge and people were thinking it's never going to happen. But today it's a very satisfying day for me, because this was one of the main promises I had made to my farmers during my election, that I'll see that this is a historic 100-year-old factory started by a royal family, Scion Shri Krishnaraj Wadeyar. So it's a befitting day that on Ganesha Chaturthi day that we could at least inaugurate the initial starting day of sugar crushing.
Heavy rain slashed Mandya this year and threw normal life out of gear at inundated agricultural fields in the rural hinterland. In Mandya, rains inundated agricultural farms, while the embankments of a lake broke and flooded the nearby areas, including the Bengaluru-Mysuru highway, across many stretches, forcing the motorists to take a detour. The situation was similar on the Mandya-Melkot road, as well as low-lying areas in Mandya.
One side there are floods, the other side there is this problem of irrigation and then water. This is dichotomous. So as an MP, as representative of the people, what do you think could be a solution? Because I know you've been holding parleys and meetings with a lot of officials. So is something tangible coming out?
I think we MPs face a very peculiar challenge because most of the work or the authority or the powers lies, of course, with the state government and the ministers, and then it percolates down to the MLAs. Whereas over there, when we are in Delhi, we are directed to, to oversee this, do that, and we are given a lot of tasks. But when it comes to executing here, nothing is in our hands. So I would like to see a day when we can work in tandem with the local, people's representatives also. So it's one smooth, easy flow. It's not like I'm fighting, the MLAs, or they are trying to put hurdles in my path, because politics plays also a large role in this. So I think we need clarity on what exactly an MP should do, and how he can work in tandem with the local representatives and the state government also.
Sumalatha Ambareesh has often expressed grave concern about illegal mining in her constituency. She claims that residents of more than 15 villages in 2,500 acres of land in Mandya district are suffering severely due to illegal mining or stone quarrying units. She asserts that since most of these units are operating near the forest, it also damages ecology. She has urged the centre to formulate stricter policy for curbing illegal mining.
I have been fighting a war against illegal mining, and my main target is to safeguard the iconic Krishnaraj Sagar Dam, which falls in my constituency, the Brindavan Gardens and KRS Dam. So there's a lot of illegal mining and unpermitted bomb blasts which happen around the vicinity. So that's my main goal, to see that illegal mining which is causing harm to the environment. Environment plays a big role. If there are floods and unprecedented rains like this, it's because we've been abusing our nature. So it's a long fight. It's not going to stop with these 2 years, and I hope certainly whoever comes maybe after me also will take up this fight and ensure that first of all we protect our environment so we can sustain whatever development we are seeing. Development cannot happen at the cost of nature. That's what I feel.
Parliament of India provides representation to the people of the country and makes their voices heard. Parliament also acts as an effective check against the arbitration of the executive through the varied functions granted to it by the Constitution of India. Going forward, Sumalatha Ambareesh wishes to effectively raise the issues of her people in the constituency in India's supreme legislative body.
Well, viewers, that's all we had for you in this edition from Mandya. With camera person Jitendra Negi, Ajendra Kumar and camera assistant Pradeep, I'm Kriti Mishra signing off from Mandya.